I don't, I think a bad teacher asks a lot of kids and then doesn't give a lot themselves. I think a good teacher asks a lot of kids and then gives just as much. So I'm not into putting you in a position where you can't do it and then not giving you the resources you need to do it. So, yes, it's a tough quiz walking through the door, but in all honesty, between what we're going to go over now, and I think it's gonna jar a lot of memories, and then if you're still stuck, the fact that you can go on the website tonight and you can look things over, I think that between those two resources, you'll be in good shape. And it's my intent to give you so many resources by the end of the year that for anybody who wants to prepare thoroughly, you should be able to do so and do extremely well. Okay, so here's the first quiz question. Ready? Oh,
What happened, bro?
I think, sis, that I used it before the little green light came on. There we go.
Way past that era.
There we go, that's what I want. Excellent, very good. Okay, so the first one says to solve by completing the square. Now, I am going to start, effective today, asking you to do something on all the questions that you do that I haven't asked before. And I think I mentioned this, but I tutored this girl from Bell Point named Eloise. She's very, very bright. First time she took the Regents, with me tutoring her for a few weeks before the Regents, she had never taken the course. She got around an 80, I think 79, and it wasn't about the math. She knew every piece of math on that test backwards and forwards with the possible exception of one question. She just kept getting nickeled and dimed for making mistakes that she knew better, that were kind of careless mistakes. And when I got a chance to see the kinds of mistakes she made on her Regents, we came up with a strategy. And it was a strategy designed to make sure that she doesn't lose points that she should get. So, if you look at the directions on number one, do you see how it says solve, blah, 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 and then it says completing the square?
Yes.
Everybody circle the words completing the square. Now, we're not gonna do too much with this now, but as the year goes on, we're going to get to the point where when we take tests, my advice to you is going to be to do your test, and then when you're done, you know how people tell you to check your test over? Does anybody have a hard time with that? I have a very hard time with that. I'm like, I put my everything into the test. The last thing I wanna do is check it over too much. And then, did you ever have people tell you that usually your first response is the right response? Okay, and generally that's true. The exception to it is what we learned with Eloise, is that when she was done with her work, she would not answer the question. Like, maybe she did a problem and she came out with like, the width is 5, and at the end of the question it said find the length. So it was a 3-point question, she was getting 2 out of 3, or 1 out of 2. So what I want to do is build up into you the idea that every time you're done with the question, you look at the part of the question that's circled and say, did I do what they told me to do? In this case, it's completing the square, okay? So you should make sure your answer completes the square. Well, that's the technique you use. When you do completing the square, there are 3 words you have to remember. What are the 3 words you must remember? Half and square, very good. Now, what half and square means is I'm going to take half of the coefficient in front of the x, which is 6, so what is half of 6? 3. And then I'm going to square. Now the problem is, and this is the thing you have to wrap your head around, the problem at this point is that these two things are not equal. X squared plus 6x does not equal x plus 3 squared. X plus 3 squared means x plus 3 times x plus 3. And I'm going to just do this very quickly because we did teach this whole unit earlier in the year. It's x squared plus 6x, which I think you can see there, but also plus 9. So in order to make this true, I need to include a plus 9. But if I put a plus 9 on the left side, what do I have to do? Put a plus 9 on the right. Is this ringing a bell to anybody?
Yes.
Okay, good. Preparation is what it's all about. So x plus 3 squared does not equal 4, it equals 13. Why 13? because 4 plus 9 is 13. Good. Now, the next step is to square root both sides. And the way I square root both sides is square root, square root. And here's the tricky part that a number of kids forgot grading your quizzes. A number of kids forgot plus or minus 13, square root of 13. Okay? And the last step, this is another mistake that I saw maybe 4 or 5 of you do. I saw kids write minus 3, which was great. You can't put the 3 with the square root of 13. This is a square root. This is a whole number. The answer is negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 13. Okay? And that's it. You're done. So I don't think it's that hard a question. I think the reason that you messed it up is just it's been at least 10 or 12 days since you even possibly thought about it. Now you'll also notice that when I give homeworks, on every single homework there's one of these questions. And the reason there's one of these questions is I want it on the tip of your head. I don't want you to forget how to do it. Okay? So that's the completing the square problem. Are there any issues with this? God bless. What I would suggest to you, God bless you, is I would make sure, if I were you, I would personally do this exact same question tonight and make sure I got the right answer. If you can do that, odds are you will get tomorrow's question right. All right, now, there's a very similar question or similar way to solve problems that is called the quadratic formula. And in this case, we're going to solve x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. And I noticed a lot of you forgot the quadratic formula. If you forgot it, this is it. They are going to give it to you on the Regents exam, so if this was the actual Regents, you never would have forgotten the formula. But I do want you to know it. Okay? Now, ordinarily, we would only use the quadratic formula on a question that we couldn't factor. There were several kids who got the correct answers to this, but they factored it. Everybody in the directions, circle the part that says use quadratic formula. If you did it by factoring, congratulations, you did an Eloise. God bless. You got it right. You knew the math. But the directions said to use the quadratic formula, so you would not have gotten 2 out of 2. You would have gotten 1 out of 2. Make sure you follow the directions. Now, x equals. If you want, draw the great big line there. Maybe even do the easy part first if you want to do that. Remember, a is in front of x squared, b is in front of x, c is at the end. So this is going to be 2 times 1 because the a's value is 1. A is what's in front of x squared. And then it says here the negative of b. What's b's value? Negative 4. So the negative of negative 4 is? Positive 4. Good. Plus or minus the square root of, and that's the same plus or minus that's in the completing the square. Okay? B squared. This is a big mistake I saw in a lot of, Sam, in a lot of your papers I saw this mistake. A lot of people put 4 here, or negative 4. It's negative 4 squared. It's not just negative 4. This should be a little longer. So negative 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 5. Make that a little longer there. Make sure that the c is a negative 5. A couple of people put c as a positive 5. And then it's just a matter of crunching through the math now. 4 plus or minus the square root of. Guys, you can put this exact thing in your calculator. But if you do that, you better make sure that any negatives are in parentheses. So when I square that negative 4, if I don't put it in parentheses, it'll say negative 16. But if you put it in parentheses, it will give you the correct answer, which is 16. Then minus 4 times 1 times minus 5 is plus 20. So altogether, you get the square root of 36 over 2 times 1 is 2. What is the square root of 36? 6. Now, a number of people, I wrote at least 2 or 3 times, keep going.
Oh, that's what that says.
Yeah, they got to this point, and then they stopped.
I see it.
Keep going. What is 4 plus 6? 10. So I get 10 over 2, comma, what's 4 minus 6? Negative 2 over 2, which is better known as 5 and negative 1. Now, clearly, the best way to do this question is to factor it. But I wanted you to practice on the quadratic formula. The one you do tomorrow may or may not work out to whole numbers. It might look more, the answer might look more like the completing the square answer. Okay, I really don't remember what it comes up like. Any question on the quadratic formula? Okay, very quickly, today's do it. What we worked on before the break was the symmetry of a parabola. So what I can tell you is, if this is the turning point here, this guy has to be 2 units over. And then this guy here, here's my axis of symmetry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there, is my parabola, okay? So all I used was the idea that these distances had to be the same all the way across. Now it says find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 5. Find the x-intercepts, 2 and, what is that? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, because this is 5 here. Right? Oh, did I count wrong? Yeah, I counted wrong. I'm sorry. It should be there. Right. So 2 and 6 are the x-intercepts. Find the interval over which the rate of change is always positive. It's always positive from when x equals 4 on. So I would say 4 to infinity, or 4 to infinity. What's the sign of the leading coefficient? Is this a positive x squared or a negative x squared? It's a smiley face, guys. Is it positive x squared or negative? Positive. Very good. If it was like this, it would be negative. That's a happy day. Happy days are positive. That's negative. Okay? And as for the dolphin problem, this is just a whole bunch of parabolas put together. Top half of a parabola, bottom half, top half. So you got a dolphin jumping out of the water, okay? And then, based on that jumping, there are some questions to answer. Who wants to turn to the next page and read me the first question?
Determine what you know for sure about the actions of the dolphin in the time interval from 0 to 6 seconds.
From 0 to 6 is from here to here. So where is the dolphin?
Out of the water.
He's above the water, right? Good. Okay, what's the next question?
Where will you find the values for which f equals 0? Explain why they mean in the context of the
Okay, it means he's jumping into the surface. You agree? Here, 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 and here. All right. Hasta la vista. Vaya con Dios. Toodaloo. Ta-ta. Arrivederci. Smile a lot. Ciao. Arrivederci. Adios, amigos y amigas. Cheerio. Garushurus. Gaddafi. Shalom.